right, guys, let's get started quickly here. Let's get to attendance. I'm going to do attendance a little bit different this week, if I can. We're going to see if we can here. Anyway, so let's see how this works. Trying to get it. We're trying to get attendance in here. Guys, you guys know we do it every week. I was really surprised the numbers this week. And not because of anybody's anything or what have you, but I really thought the numbers would be a little lower than what they are. There was really a good turnout all over, which is good. I'm not saying that's not good. I'm just saying I was a little surprised that there was that many out there. Okay, here it is. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. We'll go through them quick. Go Fast, 30 and 55. Thunderdome, they ran the big oval again, 18 and 26. Limestone, 23 and 37. I've seen a couple new guys up at Limestone, or at least one. That's good to see. New racers getting in there to try the high bite. Always good to see. Slideways, they had a little club race, 24 and a 58. Brickhouse, they had their club. It's a 19 and a 32. Hoosiers did a Tuesday deal again, 33 and a 46. Highside, they just finished up their deal today, 16 and a 25 on a club race. Darlington, Indiana RC, it was mentioned on here one day. That's a place to watch, so I put it in there, 26 and a 41. The Underground's silent as of now, but getting ready to fire up with a pop-up race. We'll hear about that in a little while. Dirt Devil, they're running indoors, 36 and a 72. Lower level, where Orange Crush is probably still racing right now, 44 and a 92. They might be done, I'm not sure. 608, they kicked it off again. 28 and a 60. That is on the 1RC stuff. Total of 405 and a 772. So, pretty good little turnout. I like the turnouts. I like the good numbers. It's always good to see. The more you get, the more you are. That's even better. Let me get back here, guys, to... It showed double, triple. Nice. There we go. Should be back on you now. We saw some sand drags for the first time. That was interesting. Yeah, Rick, I seen your live feed. That was pretty cool. Very interesting. Kevin says, ground covered here in my summer home in Indiana. Ready to get back to Indiana? Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Good racing in Indiana. What's up, JJ? Rain, snow all day yesterday. Yeah, we didn't have any yesterday. We fired it off this morning, got up to white, and it's all gone already. So we're done. What's up, Russell? Your season's over. Good to see you on here hanging out for a little while. And Tommy, how you doing this evening? We're doing really well here. What's up, Dennis? Good to see you come in. So, good turnouts this weekend, guys. The best was PTs. Obviously, PTs had their big race this weekend. That's where I went. That's where a lot of people went. Without a doubt. 108 and a 220 and a 228. So, Tom and those guys, man, they did a hell of a job. They got that thing in. It was a long day. 228 cars, guys. I don't give a shit who you are. It's going to be a long day. They did some stuff we'll talk about here in a little bit that I thought was very interesting. Those of you that were down there with me hanging out in turn 2, you'll know what's coming up. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, and we'll talk about it a bunch tonight. But there was some really, really cool things that happened that I thought was a great thing that Tom and the fam did down there and took care of it. My live shorts were there. Yeah, I seen you go. You were kind of standing on the end. Hey, man, it is what it is. It's all right. 108 shit. Yes, 108 cars. 108 drivers. What a show. What a show. What a way to start. And that's why I said that was my kickoff race for the indoor. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. So we'll talk about it. We can't not talk about it. Okay? Let's jump into, let's just do races. Let's get races down, over with. There's a lot going on, guys. A lot of races coming. Not all of them are here yet. Not all of them are ready to rip, but we'll talk about a bunch. Get this here up. We'll be ready to go. All right, Thunderdome. Thunderdome, they're ripping it off this week. They will be a club race on the High Bank Ovals. So the High Bank Oval will be fired up, rolling. They'll get that off with a club race. So if you guys want to get up there and get that done, run them NASCARs, those that they're doing is it's a good time. Make sure you guys get up there. Hey Gene, what's up? 108 drivers equals a shit ton of cars. Awesome, yes. It's a shit ton of cars and a hell of a lot of talent. Go fast. They got their 2025 Nationals. They're coming out the 14th and the 15th. Friday practice, Saturday 2 heats and mains. So if you're down to go over there, I know Jeff Johnson was over there this weekend, but if you're down to go over there, head over to Go Fast and get that down. Slideways, they've got their Crown Jewel race. They are getting ready to Point Series. This is number 2, I believe, for them on the Crown Jewel. I know a couple of our guys went down there last weekend. Guys that race around here a lot went down there last weekend to race. I don't know if they're going down this weekend or not, but if you want to make the trip down to Brownstown, get Slideways in. I think it's going to be a cool track. I will be there this winter, but I'm not sure when. Brick House. They are going to run one a month race dubbed Pay Dirt. Pay Dirt will be ran on the 15th here. They are paying out $100. This time it's to win mod late model. Extra $20 if your QT starts in the back and moves all the way to the front and wins the feature. So that will be very interesting. That's kind of a common thing that's coming around. Run to the front, dash for cash, whatever you want to call it. But that's an interesting way of doing it. Also, if there's 6 or more cars in any class, they will pay out 20-15-10. So that's pretty interesting also. Just another way to do it. Help out the racers. And honestly, it's to drive racers, guys. I mean, you're going to maybe get your entry fee back on that deal. So that's the long, the short, and the in-between. We've talked about it all the time amongst track owners. How do we drive car count? And that might help. Okay? That's the purpose of it. So, good ideas, and you always have to change it up to see what you can get done. Okay? This is an interesting one here. A pop-up race. So, RC Underground, as you guys know, our good friend Dave Brinkman. I haven't seen Dave come in yet, but if he's on here, thank you, Dave, again. He sold his house and moved away. We went up and we were the last one, right? So he is doing pop-up races. His track is portable. His track is moving one time only. If you're a 1RC racer and you want to get it done, it looks like unlimited entries, bigger track. They probably linked it a little bit. There was some extra tile. Dave didn't have room anywhere to do it, but it looks like we are doing it. The battle it was in the basement, now in the warehouse. So the 22nd, make sure if you guys are 1RC guys, plan that. Get up there, support those guys in Wisconsin. Looks like St. Francis, Wisconsin is where they're going to run that. So if that is your deal, then make sure you're up there to get that handled. Okay? The next one's a little further off. It's the Prelude. The Prelude to the Rumble at Four Rocks. Guys, the Prelude, this is put on by the guys at Cedar. They are going to put their hand in on an indoor race. Guys, I don't blame them. It seems like a really good deal. I think they're going to be okay with it. The guys know how to run big races. So don't think that you're going to go to this the first time they're putting on an indoor race and it's going to be a shit show. I don't believe that's going to happen. Zach, Tim, and the family, they can get it done. They do it every summer. They always have big races at their track too. They were 202 or something like that for the Elite Series this year. Had some problems, but I'm just going to tell it frankly. I'm not blaming the track. I'm blaming the way the promoter ran the race. Whoever that was, I'm assuming promoter. The seating hurt that race a horrible amount. That's why it ran so long. So this is going to be a good one. Joe Payne, Traxxas Joe, he says there's excellent food on site also for Four Rocks. So that's good. I think that's becoming more and more common, which it should be. And thank you, race owners, directors, whoever it is that's organizing that. That means more and more and more to guys, I think. Excuse me, the prelude, it is the 28th for practice. The 29th is going to be a controlled practice round, kind of a seeding deal, and then they're going to run 3 rounds and mains. Okay? So it will not be at their track at Cedar Bluff. There's the address at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you guys take that down, look it up, see where it's at. I did see some smart-ass comments on some of their posts about local doesn't say blah, blah, blah. Read the fucking ads, guys. Come on. All right? Make sure you guys take care of their stuff. Get out there and get that done for them. They'll take care of that without a problem, I'm sure. Okay? Let me get back to comments here while we're in it. Kevin Smith says the G mains were A mains at club races just about everywhere. Yes. 100%, guys. And I'm not bashing any tracks, guys, but if you were not at PTs this weekend, in my opinion, the best competition was there. And I said it was going to be there last week, and it did not disappoint. If you were in a G main, I mean, if you barely got in there, you're still racing against some of the best guys around. So that was amazing to see and great to see. Adam says PT's turnout is like 3% of all live RC drivers in the whole week in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, PT's always has a great turnout, and they do a good job. They only race twice a month. They run a club and a big race once a month. They got it figured out. And if you're going to go there to race and you've never raced there, Mark Larson jumped into the big end of the pool and did a damn good job. But the reality of it is sometimes you might want to go the other way and get in on a club race and check it out. Okay? Jake Harris says, I posted a video of go-karts at the facility. That's Four Rocks, I assume, Jake? So, yeah, very interesting. That's going to be a good race, guys. I think it's going to be ran pretty well, and I think am I going to tell you there's never going to be a problem? No, I'm never going to say that. What I'm going to say is the reality of it is, yeah, okay. Yep, Jake says, yeah, at Four Rocks. So there's going to be room to race. There's going to be room to pit. He is setting it at 250 limit. So if you have not got in, it looks like Mark posted today that he is going. So I don't know where the number is. I reached out to Tim, but he didn't respond back yet. I don't know what their number is. So if you have not gotten in, make sure you guys pre-register as soon as you can and get that done, because I'd hate for you to miss out on it, because the Rumble is coming, and get some laps in before. It's going to be a great race. The prelude is not going to be any joke. You're still going to have great racers there trying to figure out a brand new surface that they've never raced on. So it's going to be a great race anyway. All right. So there's where we're at on that, guys. That's races coming up. All right, let's get here. Question of the week, guys. Question of the week. It's up there. It's from Scuba. What's better, going fast or good racing? What's better? That is the question of the week. Okay? Kevin Smith says it'll be a great event too. And here's where this came up, guys. Honestly, me and Scuba were talking the other night about this. Guys, there's so many people that want to let's see, everybody's coming in here. Let's see what happens. Good racing. Josh says good racing. Hey Josh, good to see you on here. I think it's your first time commenting. Thank you for that. Rick says good clean racing all day. TJ says good racing. What's up, TJ? And Mark says good racing. Ryan says good racing with a couple race lines is better than drag racing in one groove on an oval. Agreed. Here's where the comments came up, guys. This is why the conversation came up. Me and Scuba were talking, and we see classes come up. We see people talking about motors, and it doesn't matter if you're indoor, if you're outdoor, if you're carpet, if you're dirt, if you're foam tile, if you're whatever you're racing on. Excuse me, somebody is going to be talking about the motor problem. And I don't really call it a motor problem, but a motor. We all want to win, but racing side by side is fun. Throwing slide jobs back and forth at Attitude in a slash street stock in a C main with Reedner a few years ago was one of my favorite races in my career. Drake Hartzell. Yes. And Attitude came up in this conversation, Drake, which most people that know me understand that would happen. Good racing, speed is relative, Tommy says. So here's what's going on. We have the motor complaint. We have the 13.5, the 10.5, the Just Stock, the Roar, whatever it is. Everybody wants to go faster. Everybody wants the bigger motor. I was talking to a guy this weekend, and he was talking about the Chili Bowl. And at the Chili Bowl, Buggy Street Stock is open motor. And he said he ran a smaller motor last year at the Chili Bowl because that's what he was comfortable with. And he thought that was the best thing for him. The reality of it is, this year, he's going to step up a little bit. He's going to run a little bit bigger motor because he feels comfortable with it. That tells me, I mean, and this guy's no slouch. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's a great racer, great dude. And he says, that's the way it should be. So as we're talking about motors and packages and whatever, I look at Attitude. Aaron and those guys up there, we looked at the package last year and like, man, those cars are gonna be slow. And then I talked to Aaron about it, and because I'm on Facebook, not on YouTube yet, Mama. That's why you can't put it on the TV. It'll be on YouTube shortly, live, I think. So we lost my train of thought. So we were talking, but so many guys want to go faster. The guys at Attitude have dropped that down to where they want more competitive racing than they want to be, I am the fastest, I am blah, blah, blah. And I talked to Aaron about it, and he agreed. He said that's really where he's at. He said The 12 turn that everybody hates, that's why he's kept it so long. Because it's good racing. And it keeps him slow enough where you can race good side by side. And you're not so fast, guys are out of control. So with that said, how we all say good racing, but I don't understand when you say that you want good racing, but you continue to want to be faster and faster, and a lot of guys can't handle it. There's some guys that can handle it, and that's good. I don't know, Mama. Ask Trace. I'm on the live feed. I can't help you. So, with that being said, what do you do? How can you say good racing and everybody wants to continue to go faster and faster and faster? Everybody wants to fight to get a bigger motor. Everybody wants to fight to be this or that. What's up, Moisture Nuts? What do you want to do? You know what I mean? How can you... I don't know how to say this. We don't need any more classes. So the classes that we have, we need to adjust. What's up, Alyssa? I didn't see you. Come on there. With all of that said, you have to adjust something in the class to make it better racing without hurting it. Without hurting it to be able to move up. The thought is, as I've said on here many times, we need a progression. In my opinion, if you jump into this hobby in a crate late model and you haven't ran in 20 years or 5 years or 8 years, most people probably not where you need to be. Being fast with 60 to 70% consistency is relatively pointless in my opinion. Sam Johnson, what's up, Sam? And I agree. That's part of it, you know. That's the thought. You know what I mean? We need to be more consistent and make it better racing instead of a crash fest. Rick says, I raced with a guy I never raced with at Cedar River Speedway. We raced 10 to 12 laps side by side. A little door slamming, crossovers, sliders, you name it, and we did it. And we had a drag race to the line, and he beat me by a nose, and I loved it. Yes, that's good racing, guys. But how do we keep that? How do we keep that integrity of a good race instead of just beating the doors off of everybody's stuff, driving through people? How do we keep that? Is it a motor? Is it a gear change? Is it... Here's my opinion to it. As a racer, not a track owner, as a racer, you probably need to tell that guy that's coming into the hobby that he don't tell him he needs to buy a crate late model or right out of the gate. Put him in a buggy street stock. Put him in the slash street stock even, just to figure it out. Now, there's some guys that picked it up well, you know, and some guys raced other forms and picked it up well. I mean, I'm just right off the hit. I've talked about him already tonight, but Mark Larson picked it up quick. I don't know Mark's background much except for he's a big car guy, and I don't know if he's racing much in this, but from what I understood when I talked to him last year for the first time at the Foam Oval Nationals, RC Underground Radio or RC Underground show in Wisconsin, that was his first real event or much of an event. He raced a little bit of high road maybe. Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, but the reality of it is Mark walked into this deal slow and steady, buggy street stock, 1RC buggy street stock, that kind of thing, and got him into a crate late. and his late model works well, and he runs well with it. He did really well this weekend down at PT's. So there are some anomalies, right? There are some guys that can handle it. There are some guys that'll be okay. But there's also a lot of people that really don't need that to happen. I didn't stay for it, Ryan. Well, here we go. Last night, Zach Gokin, who is Cedar Bluff guys, and Jared Howard put on an absolute driving clinic of respectful racing in a 4.5-second lapse. If the track was super fast, a 4.1 or less, none of us would have got to see that. Place roared when the race was over. I didn't stay for that, and I wish I would have. I did look at Live RC this morning and seen that him and Zach were ripping, and that's good. That is cool. You know what I mean? But also, so Ryan talks about a good deal there. PTs did a really good job of keeping the track where it wasn't one lane grooved up. Here we go. So what as track owners, let's put it on our shoulders a minute. What do we do to keep that from happening? Right? How do we keep multiple lanes? I thought it was really good multiple lane racing most of the night from everywhere. I marshaled some, and we seen that all night too, right? So very good job by the track owner to help that happen. Dennis says motor and gearing will put cars closer together and better raced. Agreed. Matt says awesome ass race to watch. Yeah, like I said, Mama was tired. We didn't race at all, guys, and we sat down there for 11 hours with the baby. So we scattled a little bit, but good to see you there. What's up, Wolfman? Yeah, good to see you, buddy. Oh, I wasn't missing it. You marshaled 9 straight rounds. I don't know. Kevin, I don't know how many. I just do it. You know what I mean? Slow racetracks, good racing. Drake says. Kevin, here's my point, and me and Jake talked about it. I know Jake won't say nothing, but I will. Me and Jake talked about it, and some of the lower mains, you did a ton too, right? Some of the lower mains, a lot of guys will get out there and they won't marshal. They'll just go back to their pits. I tried to help at Brad's a couple weeks ago, and he told me, no, these guys need to learn to marshal, and I don't disagree with him. But as a track owner, I don't want the show to hold up because one guy won't, So, that's cool. You know what I mean? To keep that going is the help of Kevin Smith was out there. He says 9 times for me. He was out there at least that many. Jake Howard, the same way, a ton. I went out there a few times. Just not to let the show stop. Ben, I don't know if Ben's on here, but Ben Maxon, he was out there. I think he was trying to stay awake, but he was out there helping Marshall, which is no surprise to me. Ben understands too and is a good dude, and he wants to keep the show rolling. So I don't care if you're at a track and you're standing there doing nothing and they're waiting on a marshal, jump up there, marshal. If you can't flip a car over physically, that's one thing. But if you can't, you get that done, Kevin Smith says my weekend was worth the trip. Acquiring a legit Wolfie autograph, that's badass. Jake says it's always the slowest rounds because of it. Yeah. And that's what we talked about a little bit, Jake, while we were there. And honestly, it was handled until it wasn't. And Jake said, I'm off the next one. I've done enough. And he had to get cars ready. And I'm like, okay, I'll just jump in there in his position to help keep this rolling. And it works, guys. Help out the track, help you out. If you don't want to be there till 3 in the morning, then get your shit done. Kevin says, we'll give some slack because the guys have multiple lower mains that are trying to bump through. Yes, 100%. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying that's the truth of it, right? They run their mains close together really quick. Joe Payne's the next comment I'm going to read, and Traxxas Joe from Rogue Race Concepts, he says, I mean, he bumped twice, and it was like back to back. Like he raced, there was a race between them, and then he raced again. So that's a big part of it. You know what I mean? They have to get their shit ready. Well, the problem is there's 6 of them out there. So he'll run one with 4 marshals, 2 in the middle and 2 on one on each corner, right? But a lot of times that doesn't happen either. Joe, I made arrangements to cover my marshalling if I bumped. There's no reason for waiting on a marshal with 108 drivers. Agreed, Joe. I didn't know what your comment was. I didn't even read it until now, but yeah, agreed. So he had his boy usually marshalling for him. I know Tyler was marshalling for his dad. Hey guys, figure it out. There's a way to make that happen, you know? Cuz says, thanks for helping out. No problem, Cuz. That's what I do, buddy. Drake says, I stopped at CCX Off-Road Club race and marshaled a couple rounds. The marshalling problem is across all disciplines, although oval seems to struggle the most. Agreed. I've got something coming up, guys. A blurb I found that you guys are going to find. I'm sure pretty funny. We'll do it after this question's over, but I'm sure it'll be pretty funny for you guys to see this here too, because it's a problem all over. There's problems that we have, everybody else has too. Okay. So anyway, so back to it, guys. Figure it out. You know what I mean? I'll marshal because I don't have anything to do, and it keeps the show moving at those big shows. Right, Ben? I know, bud. I was he walks up there to marshal. I'm like, what? You about to fall asleep? Because he had a long way to go. He was up there in the mains, and they were running G mains, guys. And if you're in the A or the B, that's a long wait, but you got to do it. I mean, that's part of the game. So, thanks for stepping up, Ben. Thanks for everybody that stepped up. Thanks for everybody that figured it out. I'm not speaking for them at PTs. I'm just saying from a race promoter, track owner, thank you to everybody that was at PTs yesterday with 108 cars, 228 entries, and helped keep the show rolling. It helps everybody's mood. It helps everybody's attitude. And the racers, whether they tell you they appreciate you out there doing something, whether it's picking stuff up, whether it's doing whatever you have to do, wetting the track, the guys that helped get the track ready in between rounds, the guys that blew the track off, the guys that swept the track off, all you guys are what helps keep this hobby rolling, okay? So thank you all for that. What an amazing job. Okay? Let me get this question of the week off there. So there it is, guys. So let's sum this question of the week up really quick, and then we'll get it out of here. So if you really think good racing is better racing, then here's what I can say to you. We need to, as a community, we need to figure out how we can make it better racing and not driving through each other every corner, every chance we get. I understand. There's rookies and there's good guys. There's guys that have been doing it a long time, and there's rookies. That doesn't really matter, in all honesty. That is, then that rookie that maybe should be down one class, maybe should be down one class. Just my opinion. I'm not going to tell somebody they can't run, but as a community, if we get together and say, hey man, probably should back that down to a buggy street stock or something. You know what I mean? I know you got to buy another car or whatever, however that looks, whatever. But, you know, better yet, before you buy into the hobby or before your buddy buys into the hobby, make sure they know what they're getting into, you know, with the car they're getting into. I guess is my best bet. Guys, I haven't raced much. I've raced a lot of mini. I've raced some slash street stock. Played around, right? But I am going to build a buggy street stock this winter if I get all the rest of the projects done. So if I build a buggy street stock, that's where I think you need to start if you're going buggy based. Is that an entry level class? Not really. But what else do you have in a buggy based? I'll run some slash, and you know what else? Nobody will probably see me unless you're out here on a Friday night and I'm fucking off, right? I think guys try to jump into the deep end of the pool way too early. Joe says you'll have more than that. Yeah, I know. I'm sure. Thank you. But that's what I want to try. You know what I mean? And guys, find practice time. Find guys that will practice. Go out and practice with the guys, and then hang out at the track. Even if you, this sounds like a dumbass idea, but this is how I would do it. I would go to a track. Say I wanted to try something different. I've raced here for, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, fucked around. I feel pretty confident in my own track, and I want to go down to Brad's. I'm saying Brad's because Brad's is the closest to me. I go down there, I pay my $20 or whatever it is to get your first race in. One car, I go out for practice sessions. I figure out, hey, I like it, I don't. I got to figure it out, I don't. I ask guys for help, they help me, or they don't. Then I go in and I race my first race. I run the first heat. And then I run that heat, and I pay my $20, I run my heat. And then I go home. Or I pull it and I don't come back. Guys would be like, you're dumb for that, blah, blah. Okay, I might be, but if I don't feel comfortable, I'm going to pull it. Who cares? It's $20. You spent $450 building the car. It'll be okay. You know what I mean? Just relax and figure it out. Went to the track Friday and practiced for an hour and a half. Yeah. Tommy said that's why I like loose dirt and tread tires. It naturally slows the cars down, which makes better racing. Yeah. You're right, Tommy. I think, honestly, if we get into the tire turmoil bullshit of it, I think the tires help that track be what it was this weekend, too, and the racing be as good as it was this weekend also. I think the fact that you had quases only, and I've never seen it. Guys, you know I'm not a Monopoly guy. But I think the quases helped it. Yeah, right then it snowed, right? So that's where it is. Just be wise of where you're at. Be wise of where your buddy's buying in at. Make sure your buddy knows what he's getting into. You know, if you really trust the guy, put him in your crate late model that you have and let him run it a little bit and see what happens. Okay? Let's see here. I'm going to try. Let's see if I can do this without making a big mess out of it. I'm going to try to share this page. Guys, I'm going to try to share this and want you to look at what's happening. This is the funny part that I was just telling you about. Hey, IT department, that's enough. This is something I was just telling you guys about that I thought was very, very interesting. Look at this. Look what this guy's doing. They're telling them if you have a transponder failure, there's going to be no manual counting. And that's in the European Federation of Radio Operators Model Automobile group. And then the bitch comes in. You guys all know what the bitch is. Whose fault is it? The transponder or is it the race, right? The track. So, guys, that problem that we have is everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's not just us problem. That is an everywhere problem. Just very, very interesting to see that. So, just like you're talking about marshalling being a problem everywhere, I think there's a lot of ours problems that aren't just us. You know what I mean? Kevin Smith said, I run the same tires, same set of tires per car on all three cars all night. Yeah. Imperfections in the track would have been way deeper and torn up more if sprinters would have been allowed. What are you doing there, buddy? Mark Larson says same. He ran the same tires all night on both cars. Brian says couldn't tell you how many times I pulled off and stayed out of the way, or I broke and stayed up there in the driver's stand until the end of the race, as not to disrupt anyone else or walking off the stand. Yeah, and Brian, you've been doing this a long time, but you get to see how a guy is handling his car. It makes a difference, right? You can see it. Ben said he did too all nights, every night. Friday and Saturday he ran the same tires. So hey, there you go. You know what I mean? I don't think quasi needs to be every track, every person, everything. I don't think that's where we're at. I think it works really well with the way Tom and those guys have got it taken care of down there at PTs. Okay? I'm not saying monopolize into that. Okay? I'm just saying make sure that you get a tire that is in good shape. And it would have and like I say, guys want all the traction in the world, but the problem is if you're tearing the track up, where's it going to go? Way it should be. Commended the fellow. Oh, talking about Brian's comment. The way it should be. Commended that showing respect to your fellow racers. Yeah, you're the drivers, right? Yeah, and I don't even know even if you're on an end, I don't know if you should walk off. I don't know that you should step back. You can do whatever you want. We talk about etiquette a lot, and that might be one of them. How do you handle that? I feel like you stay right where you are and just hold your controller down, because you stepping away at some point is going to be something different a guy doesn't see, or what is he doing? And then here we are in a melee. So I don't know, but it's good. I mean, I think there's plenty of. I think you can learn so much watching, guys, and that's why I go. I had zero reason to be at PTs except for to watch and to hang out. Zero reason. Seen way too many guys storm off stand because they're pissed off. Yeah. And Brian, we all understand that too, right? I mean, guys get mad because something happens, but what I like is when the guy gets mad, he broke, okay, his fault or not. He breaks. Then he's trying to get the marshal to hand him the car across the track like he's going to fix it and get back out there right away. I don't know. Just doesn't seem right. One track I run at requires you to stay on the driver's... Yeah. You just hate to... You hate to nitpick that much. Let's talk about that, guys. We're kind of talking about the show here and how the show works, what the show looks like. Let's get to the topic of the week. Boom, right there. It says it for itself. Does it not? Running the show. Guys, as a track owner, here's what I can say to this. You guys might look at running the show as a job of the track owner. The reality of it is, it's not. The reality of it is you guys have so much of a part in that. Weasel says, when I raced off-road, that was the rule. Yeah, you couldn't get off the stand. I mean, maybe it's something that needs to be talked about and come back, but I think it's more of a known racer etiquette. Hey, stay on the stand. You know what I mean? And if a racer jumps off the stand or runs off the stand or is pissed off and gets off the stand, whenever you go back to him, when you go back to the pits and he's pitted next to you, you say, hey, Billy Joe, you probably should stay on the stand, man. That it just shows more respect. Be that guy. You know what I mean? If he jumps your ass, you know what kind of dude he is. Right? No reason for it. So running the show, guys. And here's the biggest thing and we talked about it, and these guys that were down there hanging out this weekend, they know it's coming. Okay? I don't know when Tom put this in. From what I understand, it was Saturday morning at the driver's meeting. You had practice laps early. You had practice Friday and you had practice early on Saturday. When racing started, you couldn't make an adjustment. So, when racing got started, hang on just a second. The IT department's about to make an IT error. Oh, we were about to be done. And another one. So he put in a rule, no adjustments. Matt says, I love this new rule. Okay, I don't disagree with you. Rick says, I agree with Weasel. What happens if your car breaks and you storm off the stand and you bump into another racer and cause him to lose control? Yeah, right. There's so much. Joe says, I like to keep it more realistic. Jake Howard says, I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, I didn't know what to do with my hands, right? Jake's usually the one wrenching on more than one person's down there. So the rule was this, guys. So if once you got done with practice the morning of, you could not adjust your car after hot laps. So he lets you do in, 3 to 5 hot laps. Park them on a back stretch. We're going to go racing. Well, you couldn't make an adjustment at that point. There were a few guys that did, probably out of habit, and he said he put them in the back of the field. Okay? Black flagged and put them in the back of the field. I don't think that rule needs to happen every week at a race. But what number do we need that to start happening at? I think it's going to happen here, guys, on a big race day. I can guarantee you. But what number is it? Wolfman says, a reminder at the driver's meeting about walking off the stand. Yeah. Man, my sheet for a driver's meeting is getting longer. Rick says, Jake, just put them in your pockets. Jake says 100 to 120-ish. That's where I was at. That's where I was at. If you get 100 to 100, this is what I was thinking. We talked about it a little bit last night. 100 to 120 cars, you don't get to make adjustments. So we have practice. Practice is over. You go out, you race your first heat. If you make your hot laps and it drives like shit, you pull it. Or you have to drive it that way. And then in between rounds, you can wrench all you want. So if it's tied in and loose off, you need to make adjustments to try to make that, better. Whatever you want, right? You make your adjustments. Talking to some guys last night, and guys, it's not my cup of tea. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not in it enough, and I'm not at that level that I am going to make that minor adjustment to make it better. But talking to some guys last night, and they were talking like, well, we had to be a little more conservative. We had to drive the car more. We couldn't swing it really hard one way, and then if we didn't like it, we need to pull it back. We can do it real quick with a few adjustments. at the driver's stand. We figured it up last night. There was 42, right? 42 rounds last night of racing. And if it saved 3 minutes, that's 4 hours during the heats. If it saved 3 minutes of guys putting an adjustment in, right? 3 minutes of heat. Some of them probably wouldn't be, but 3 minutes of heat, and we'll say 80 heats. I mean, there you are. 240 minutes. And that's a lot of time saved. And we all know, and I don't care who you are or what you are, there's always going to be a guy or two guys that are going to be out there, and they're going to have to make that last final adjustment no matter what. It happens everywhere. So I really like the rule. I bet it saved them. I bet realistically it saved them last night 2 hours of racing minimum. Brian says, and that makes a huge difference between going home at midnight and 3. Yes. I really do think, I mean, honestly, with the amount of cars that were there last night, and as many mod racers that were there, a late model and sprint, for sure. Those guys, and it is what it is, guys. I'm not bagging on you, but it's the truth. You guys make more adjustments than most, right? Slash Street Stock is probably not going, I didn't run them, but Slash Street Stock is probably not going to make adjustments. Buggy Street Stock, maybe a little bit, but not much, right? Most of those guys aren't going to make that big adjustment, or most guys are just out to get it done. They don't maybe want to, care to, or can feel the difference in a small adjustment like a mod guy can. So guys running the mod classes can feel that adjustment or understand that adjustment a little bit more. You guys are more likely to do it. So therefore, there's a lot of them last night. And you have them all the way through because you have a G main. Ryan says, it was different, but honestly, I heard less bitching about that rule than any other rule changes we've had in the last 5 years, and it was a fun challenge. Yeah, I don't think anybody bitched about it, and that I heard anyway. They thought it was weird or different, but Justin says, I'll actually adjust if I get a chance 8 out of 10 times. Yeah, you will. But you know what you did last night? You didn't have that option, right? And you made it happen. Wolfie says it, and you still finished after. Yeah. But there's 200 and some cars. I mean, what do you think? You know, what do you agree? Jake says I totally agree. Yeah, with that many cars, you're gonna finish late. I mean, I thought he did good at 13 hours with 200 and some cars. Not quite 13 hours, but. Yeah, so that was very interesting to see that go through, you know, and that's what I'm talking about running the show. The other thing is we adjusted last night. He adjusted the lower mains. Honestly, I didn't know you could do it, and I didn't even look at the program today to see how it was done. He had 20 lap lowers and 30 lap when you got to the D and up. You know, if you didn't get to after you got to the D main, I think he bumped it back up to 30 lap mains, and then they had the 100 for the big main. So, what A's were 50? I think I didn't look. Weasel says timer between the end of the race and the start of the next race. Miss to start making adjustments on the driver. Yeah, that's another way, Weasel. The problem with that is friendships and relationships get in the way of that. You know what I mean? And then that's where we'll wait on him. You know what I mean? Every track owner's ran into it. Paisley says, would suck if you couldn't make practice on Friday. Yeah, it would. It would make a little bit difference if you didn't have that. I agreed. You'd really be fighting. Now, they had 3 hours of practice in the morning, but you know how it is at PTs trying to get practice. It looked like Friday was pretty easy. I watched some on Live RC, but and I wasn't there for Saturday morning, but usually there's a line, and it takes you a while to get up there. Wolfman says, I understand it would have been 4. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, that's just it. Wolfman, I agree too, man. I think that's a good idea. Big show, fall brawl next year, guys. Be ready. I'd rather have a show ran like that than make it a 2-day show where people would have to spend more time there and spend more money. Yeah, it was close to perfect. Ryan, I can honestly say that I would agree with you. I think they did a hell of a job. I don't know. I mean, there was some stuff, you know me, I'm always nitpicking little shit that would be different. But it wasn't about the show. It was more about options. We'll just put it that way. And I came up with some ideas that I'm going to do here because of what I seen there. That's why I go. And it has zero to do with them. Tom and the crew down there have done a hell of a job with that place. And it is totally different than the last time I went down there. And so much better. Pitting was so much better. There was so much more pitting. We could have put another 50 cars in there probably. Minimum. There was a whole nother area that was left wide open that could be pitted in. Nobody pitting. So I think there was room, and even on top the old area, I think there was some room back there in the back by behind Joe. They were all up there. Joe, Izzy, Uric. All those guys were up there. There's room, I think 2 or 3 tables left back behind there. So I think there's room. I think they have room to put 300 cars in that place without a problem. But yeah, it was good. I just seen things that I would change, and I talked to some guys about it, and we knew what was going on. Says Tyler used to do this at Limestone when he was running the booth, and he had a few guys get pissed about it when he was just trying to keep the show moving. Yeah, and Weasel says, usually experienced driver, they should know better. Yeah, exactly. So, how do I say this without being a dick? But, oh well, it's in my opinion, and it's my opinion. Entitlement. Right? I've been doing this. I've been here. I don't have to worry about it. Why are you yelling at me? It happens a lot, guys. So don't, you know what I mean? And don't think I'm not bagging. I don't know anybody. I'm not picking out anybody. I just see that. I can see that happening. I can see certain guys do that. And I've said it here. It kind of got this podcast started a couple of years ago with some stuff that I seen that I didn't like, and I said it. Guys, I don't. There's nobody better than anybody else here. Nobody. Kempton Speedway, nobody's better. Right? Now, will I go to bat for some guys sometimes? Of course I will. If you deserve it, but I don't care who you are. If you deserve it. So don't think that's it. But there would be a lot. I could see that. And I think that's why this rule works better than a timer, is because we don't have to worry about that. Right? Nobody gets it. Nobody. And I'm just going to pick on people because I can. So yesterday they had a couple guys that made adjustments. He black filed them, put them in the back. So here we go. We're racing fall brawl next year. There's no adjustments. They pulled in. Jeremy Morris grabs Scuba's car. You two are easy to pick on. And makes an adjustment for it in the first heat. I put him in the back of the field. That would be your warning. We get to the mains. Scuba runs off the stand, makes his own adjustment. Guess what? You're done. Go home. Guys, you don't want to be that dick, but at some point, you have to make that happen. You have to be able to say, enough's enough, we're done. Right? You have to make an example, whatever you want to say, but that's anybody. 2 adjustments and you're done. We had 2 different guys last night do it, and Tom was starting to break fingers. Honestly, the rule's a rule. You get a warning. The next time you don't. If you make an adjustment, put your car back on the track, pull back on pit road and take it home. You're done. It's a new rule. It's something we have to be really, really conscious of. And if a track takes on this rule, the track announcer needs to be very vigilant of saying, guys, remember no adjustments. Remember no adjustments. Until tracks figure it out and guys figure it out and remember, right? We've done it forever, so why wouldn't you? Jake says people would get more used to it. Shows are ran that way more often. Yeah, I think it's a number, Jake. I really do. And if you're going to be a big dude, a big player in big races, you're probably going to get used to it. Guys, you gotta give credit. We're gonna go on a different tangent here, guys. You know how I am, squirrel just came up. I learned some stuff this weekend, and I've already known some stuff, but I learned more this weekend talking to people. There's a couple of things, really, guys, that we need to look at as a hobby in Central Illinois and maybe in Dirt Oval in this area altogether. One, as a track owner, promoter, what have you, my opinion, PTs is a staple, and they have made good changes for the most part on the hobby. That being said, this rule idea, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a good way to speed up the show without being a dick, right? We did not put practice between rounds. That was just something that happens, right? We all kind of understand that. No practice at all yesterday. Tom came out with a power rake, walk behind power rake. That's probably 3-footer, I'm guessing. Maybe 42 inches. And dug up the whole track. The track was completely tore up. Then he drug it, kind of packed it a little bit here and there, and we went racing in between rounds, in between heats. For the mains, they just patched a couple of places that got a pretty good groove in them, and then wetted it good, packed that in and wetted it good, and it was good to go. Nobody's tearing up tracks besides PTs in between rounds. Hey, that's about a $4,000 machine, Mark. I looked at one already. So, with that said, you got to thank PTs for some of this. I think they came up with the 13.5 rules, from what I understand. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. The 13.5 crate late model is probably one of the better things that's happened to this hobby in a while. I've only been in it 4 years. It's the best thing that's happened in 4 years I've been in it. And I think it's probably one of the better things that's happened before that if you talk to some people who've been around a while. It's cleaned up some racing. It's made another place for a guy to go. They're not got the big jump from buggy street stock right into the mod stuff because you want to keep in buggies. I think that's a great thing, and I believe it started. Oh, yeah, Joe. You're right, Joe. Yep. Jake's does too. Jake's has several times, Joe said, and I agree with that. Yes. Yep. He did it the other night when I was there, so yes, I didn't think about that. You're correct, Joe. Jake's RC also tears up between. But not many, right? I'm not doing it. Ryan said, I did hear several people say, I like it because now I can't tune my car out while on the driver's stand, which happens a lot. Yeah, I agree with that too. Guys get in their head, right, and make a tune, that a change in it that they didn't need to make anyway. But so back to it. PTs, we talk about Premier, we laugh and joke and carry on about Premier. Dude, it's Premier. I have not been to Slideways yet, and there's other tracks I haven't been to. But from the tracks that I have been to, PTs is the best. They are Premier. They do have a very nice facility. The stuff we talked about. Dude, you can get a hotel room down the street. You can get any food you want in town. You can have it delivered. They had food last night. They had food yesterday, lunch and dinner. I don't know how that worked. I didn't get involved in that. I wasn't a racer. They did tech. Yes, Weasel, they did tech. So they have so much different pieces to the puzzle put together. Now, do I think Tom and the guys down there are going to stop? No. That place is Premier in my eyes, but that doesn't mean that they are going to stop doing what they're doing. Like I said, I've seen a few things that I would change, just in facility-wise. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's not going to make a huge difference. It's just ideas and thoughts, right? So, but to me, that's where it's at. PTs is the best you got in this area. Indoor for sure. Outdoor, outdoor combined, they're they're there. Right? So, let's get back to comments here real quick. I got one more to talk about. Here's some people said they couldn't. Yeah. So Chris says that's me, LOL, and Tommy says that's why I don't adjust my car. Exactly. You overthink it, right? You get up there and you think, man, I can make this little change and it'll be better, and it won't be. Or it could be, but normally you've already thought about it enough, and you change it, and it screws it up more. And Matt said, yes, everything 13.5 was tech, Weasel. So, great job by those guys at PTs. And guys, here's another one that I'm going to talk about a little bit. I'm just going to kind of go over it, but and I wasn't around for it, but at one time, from what I understand, and I can see it, there was not many. Paul and Tom have done nothing but make track and facility better. Yeah, 100%. Paul and Tom are guys, are good track owners. And making changes to make things better make you a good track owner, in my opinion. Another guy you got to think is Brad, BB Mods. From what I understand, I wasn't here for this era of Dirt Oval. I wasn't even supposed to be in this era I'm here in, but I am. From what I understand, Brad, and I know this, Brad is OG, right? Brad was the one that was running when there was no other tracks around. We didn't have 12 tracks in 15 minutes of each other, right? And Brad kept rolling. So I'm not saying he's owed anything except for a thank you, right? Time moves on. People don't even know about it. And that's why I wanted to say something tonight about it. If the 23 that are on here and the 1,000, 1,500 that watch this later, understand that. Brad at BB Mods helped, I'm not saying he did it all himself, helped keep our dirt oval scene in North Central Illinois alive at one time. I wasn't in that game. I'm not saying I would have done it. but as tracks started to, as the carnival ride went up, tracks jumped on. When they went down, there was only a few, and Brad was one of them. And he kept it rolling. So that's huge for us now. Guys, I don't know that Dirt Oval has ever been any bigger than it is now, at least in central Illinois, north central Illinois. You get south of 70. Between 70 and 80 is really hotbed. If you get south of 70, it kind of tapers off. I would like to know if anybody knows in southern Illinois if there's any tracks besides slideways. That's not southern to me. That's central. I grew up in Mattoon, Effingham area, so them guys they're not southern. They're southern. They're more southern than a lot of people, but they're not. That's not southern Illinois. That's still central to me. So, what? All I'm saying to this is, guys, there are people like PTs. There are people like Brad that have been around for a long time doing this deal. You don't have to go kiss their ass. You don't even have to go race at their place. But if you go to one of their races, or you see them at a race, or you see them somewhere, just know that those guys are the ones that help to keep it going. Right? And now, with them guys helping keep shit going, here we are, flourishing in track overload and enjoying whatever we want for a surface. And whatever we want for a configuration. Yeah, you're right, Dennis. Oval Office and Morrow. They're still, man, they're not far enough. I mean, they're south. I'll give them that. They're St. Louis area. They're farther south than most, but I'm thinking 64 and lower. You know what I mean? But because I grew up down there. I grew up in Mount Vernon Centralia area, and guess what? We didn't have anything when I was a kid growing up. Go-karts and big tracks. So I just wondered. But yeah, Oval Office is down that way too. Which I'd like to get to next summer. We'll see how that works. But yeah, that's just it. Ryan says, back to your point, there was over 10 different states of license plates in the parking lot yesterday, and that tells a story of its own. Paisley says, no tracks south of us. Okay. I didn't think so. You and Oval Office, right? You guys are on the 70 crew. Yeah, Ryan, it does. And everybody on here probably knows it, but, you know, it's supposed to be a J Concept race. I mean, I don't know what happened there. I don't care. But I don't know that we would have got that out of J Concept race. Maybe we would have. Maybe everybody still would have showed. I don't know. I'm just saying. It doesn't take a big sponsor to make it happen a lot of times. Maybe the J Concept race guys already called off for it or whatever and had the plan and hotel room, and when they canceled it out, however that happened, that's why, you know what I mean? Maybe that's why they came anyway, but it doesn't really matter. They could have canceled that deal, kicked the hotel room out, and went racing somewhere else, but no, they showed up there. What, Kentucky, Tennessee area, New York, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, I'm sure, Wisconsin, Michigan. I mean, tons. So, yes, that is huge. Huge, huge. Thank you, PTs, for a great show. Thank you guys for putting that on and teaching us all a little bit. And that's why you go to tracks. It is a good time. All right, anybody else got anything on that? Where we're at so far? Anybody got anything for me? Well, to back that point too, further proves the Midwest can build their own big races. Agreed, Ryan. Agreed. 100%. PA has a fair amount of tracks, and so does Texas as far as ovals go in the States. Okay? I knew PA was big with the Mud Boss stuff. So, and I'm sure when you get into that, obviously, right, you don't all stay in that class. It moves around. But if anybody has an out of area track that they are following, fond of, been to, thinks it's badass, and it's an oval, let me know in my message me a name. I'd like to follow some out of the area tracks, just to see what it looks like. So there's a lot going on, guys. There, in my opinion, and I said it every week almost, I'll put anybody in this area up against anybody in the country. 100%. If you give them a clean race, I think it'll be a good race. If you get a good clean run out of everybody like they did last night at PT's, I think you'll see that is mod late, mod sprint, buggy street stock. I put anybody against them. Well, guys, I'm going to cut the recording. We're an hour and 22 minutes in. Thanks for listening to In My Opinion. Don't forget to join us live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central on Kempton Speedway Facebook page. Catch our highlight show dropping Wednesdays on RCU Radio's YouTube, Spotify, and all major platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time.